But the call to order the Mendon Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, 6 p.m. Roll call attendance. Just for those online, this meeting is being recorded.
John Mansell's here.
Colleen is here. Want to see your alternate here?
Matt Clark, Chairman here. Okay, have we reviewed the minutes of the last meeting?
Yes, I did.
Cool. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the December 18th, 2025 as written.
Second,
All in favor? Roll call vote.
Morale, aye.
John, I.
Matt Clark, aye. And open the continued. Yeah. Would like to open the hearing for 43 Bay Street Rare. It's a continuance of a variance request. Let's see. What do you think? Okay, state your name for the record, please.
My name is David Giordazzi. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Dave Fernandez, who's with me here this evening.
I just want to note again that David Bernazzi is also my attorney. I'm not a board member. It's not. It's no conflict.
If I recall, the last time you folks presented, we just wanted some time to, do some research. We were thinking that the right of way may or may not have served as frontage or shore. And the question, I guess, was, can we issue a variance for frontage based on either 15 feet or no frontage technically? So have you done any research since that yourself or?
No,
Okay. We're going to take a second just to discuss this a bit.
Who owns the right of way?
I do.
You own the right of way.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I understand how right of way.
the adjacent landowner has the fee interest, he has his.
Yeah,
So, we reviewed the zoning bylaw, just trying to find a way that we could do this if we could, because it seems like, reasonable based on the size of the.
I think we need frontage on every,
lot.
on the lot, and that's the question was, whether easement was frontage. Like I said here, that it would be considered frontage. Or the owner.
Well, so based on what, I'm seeing out there, we spoke with town council a bit on this. That deficiency in frontage, especially where, I don't think we can count the right of way as frontage. Right, that's what our bylaw doesn't allow, at least it doesn't define that, and it's not massive, so. Have you researched that at all, or?
Again, the vision is that we have this uniquely set up situation and that, my feeling is under the statute that, based on that configuration, you have a unique circumstance and it affects this parcel that doesn't affect others. So I believe that variance can be granted.
My problem, I don't like setting a precedence. We've never done it with zero frontage. Why? Setting a precedent.
Yeah, and so there's case law that basically says the deficiency in frontage is not in itself the circumstance relating to, lot shape, topography, et cetera. And then our bylaw, some bylaws do allow an easement to be counted as frontage. Our bylaw doesn't allow that or disallow it for that matter. What it does say is that frontage, the driveway in this case, shall be contained within the limits of the lot frontage on an accepted public way in a town of Mendon. When we look at the definition of frontage, and it just says, it's a bit ambiguous, but essentially says it's defined as a continuous line measured along the front line and between the points of intersection of the side lot lines with the front lot line. So front lot line clearly does not have frontage on an accepted road or public.
It says here, no driveway can be within 10 feet of the side lot line.
That too, yeah.
Okay.
So then we get into, all right, what is the street? We define it as any public way laid out for the vehicular traffic or any private way, which potentially could be this, laid out for and used as a public way for such traffic. So that private way by itself wouldn't be considered a public way, right? So it's a private easement between two parties. Grants access to your property to everybody. So I'm having a hard time, and I was before, just trying to understand what our ability is to give you a variance based on frontage being, that it doesn't exist, right? It's not at all, doesn't exist at all, like statutory. And yeah, so that's,
And instead of it being an easement, if you bought that piece of land and put that in that lot.
it might be helpful for us to understand how the lot was created without frontage.
This happened back in the fifties, so nobody cared because zoning wasn't a thing. So they preserved, whoever
They
created
reserved
it
their rights.
preserved their rights to get at the land and thought, I can build that tomorrow if I want, because I have these preserved rights to get back and forth to the property. Subsequently, zoning came into place and people started placing these limitations on parcels that had been created without a thought that these limitations would be placed on them. And that's why the whole notion of a variance exists,
Sure.
so that when you do create situations that are unique like this, that the landowner might have some rights that they could look to.
Yeah, and so I put a lot of time into this, trying to find, honestly, a way to make it that we have the latitude to do that, and it's just not coming up.
I'm just trying to look at the easement document in itself.
Yeah, it's basically said, right, you have exclusive right to access access to the property and construct a driveway and all that stuff, right? All this standard language.
I don't see a way for for us to interpret the bylaw to include,
Yeah.
a right of way as frontage consideration.
It might be something that, we can continue this, right? Like, that you can just go back and just maybe do some research. Because everything looking for I guess so much. Maybe just there's some other case law that supports that position. There's an angle we're not thinking about, an interpretation of our bylaws that we're not seeing.
We had one a few years ago on Millville Road. He had no frontage and we denied him. Then he bought a piece of land next to it, about 12 feet, and gave him frontage, a driveway. And then we granted it then. But I don't want to set a precedent.
Yeah, I mean, it in this case, I think it would be highly contestable just the way if we were to vote as now.
If what what Sean's saying is true, then precedent has already been set. We don't grant zero.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't on a easement or anything like that. He actually bought the extra land.
But we have an easement to get to that land.
No, he didn't
He
have,
just didn't have any frontage.
he didn't have any easement, so he bought frontage.
Slightly different situation.
Yeah, it was different. Every situation is different.
Would,
Maybe the deed research, like if you get some real heavy deed research.
Yeah, I can take a look at it. Maybe if you give us a, continuance till the next meeting, I can take a look at it.
It sounds like, I mean, I'd love to hear what town council has to say about it.
Well, this is some.
Oh, this is another town council, okay.
I some of that along some research. It initially, they thought that it was reasonable to consider that, but then with the case law, and then our bylaws don't allow it, right? Maybe it should, I don't know. And that where the easement is coming through that property, they couldn't sell you the piece either because
Well, they would be,
further, yeah.
you could, even if you may deal with it would make their lot more than non-conforming.
Unless it was a more conforming lot than it already is.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that they're already pre-existing non-conforming.
Then you can't do it.
Yeah, they're from the property line.
So is logical as it might seem that the easement is the proper, it might be proper access, right? Like I think we can agree that it is a proper access to the property, certainly safety concerns. Not us to rule per se, it appears to be proper width. I'm sure it would be constructed, consistent with our regulations so that it meets all the requirements. It's just statutorily, there's just either a hole in our bylaws, again, the Mass General law doesn't allow it, and case law supports the notion that that would not be a hardship that we can move on. So maybe there's other stuff.
If you give us an extension, I'll see if I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. I can make a motion to continue the hearing until our next meeting. Whenever
I'll
that's.
second.
It's February 19th. so-
February 19th.
Second.
Roll call vote.
John, aye.
Around.
Matt Clark.
I'm sorry.
February 19th.
You could maybe even call town council, but they, essentially,
Is that something that you could share with me just so I can see what they are, or is that?
this is my notes.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Oh, we just make vote on it was on that they didn't provide you with some kind of a memo or anything.
Yeah, they did, but I don't know that I can share that.
Okay.
But I don't think so. We can connect. I don't know. We could just do some research.
Sure, that's fine.
Case laws. Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you so much.
We'll see you in a minute. We probably should have opened this one for six, right? Okay, then continue with that.
No.
Okay. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 10, a public hearing will be held on January 15, 2026, in the Mendon Town Hall at 6 p.m. for a variance for 35 Hartford Avenue. The applicant, MJT RE LLC, seeks to reduce the frontage requirements from 200 feet to 50 feet, and the lot width from 125 feet to 50 feet for lots 1 through 4. Applicant is also requesting the use of a common driveway to service the 4 lots. We have an application here that's been received, correct?
Yep.
Everyone's in the order? Yeah. Who is here to represent the applicant?
Myself,
And for the board?
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to recognize that. Yeah.
And non-voting member.
Good evening, my name is Peter Lavoy. I am the engineer for this project and I work with D&L Design Group. We are located in Milford, Mass. At 115 Water Street.
The floor is yours.
Okay. So for the record, my name is Peter Lavoy. I work with D&L Design Group. Here tonight representing MJT RE LLC. With me tonight is Lonnie Tinio. The project is located at 35 Hartford Ave. Hartford Ave on the top of the page here. The parcel is 26.39 acres in size, so the total parcel is 26.39 acres. We have the Muddy Brook that runs along the bottom of the page. Basically, we have the topography for the lot slopes down pretty steep to this area here, flattens out, and then slopes down to the river. We do have ledge along the front here. Bellingham Street is in this location here, and Cemetery Street is roughly 200 feet this way. Excuse me, what was the ledge again? Could you show where the ledge is again? The ledge runs along the front of the road? Not the whole front, but a portion of it.
If you could just finish the presentation, then if you could state your name, then we address the board, that'd be great. Thank you.
Sure.
We'll just, go ahead and finish that, and then we'll take, there'll be plenty of time to ask questions and whatnot.
So what we would like to propose are 4 large lots with reduced frontage. So we have 4 individual lots right here. Septic, as you can see, we put septic systems that all have their own individual septic, all have their own individual well. Each one of these lots are 2 acres, a minimum 2 acres in size. Each lot will have 50 feet of frontage and a 50-foot width for each lot. So 1 through 4 will have those requirements. We did do soil testing, so we know that we can get the septics where they are. So we do already have an approved preliminary plan, the planning board, that basically shows 8 individual lots. So as you can see, we have the proposed cul-de-sac in this location here with 8 buildable lots around it. We did go in front of the planning board, they did approve the preliminary plan for this development. But as you can see, if you look at this, it's much more congested because of the physical constraints on the lot. We have the riverfront area, we have the topography, and then we have soil testing, which would also increase each individual lot would have more disturbance. It would increase impervious. The town would have to maintain the cul-de-sac, so that would burden the town for that road. So we want to go with these 4 lots. How we laid these lots out, we followed, the town had a draft bylaw regarding retreat lots. So we kind of took the draft of the retreat lot bylaw that the town was working on, and we constructed and laid out these 4 lots. So like I said before, each lot has double the area, so they all have a minimum of 2 additional acres, 2 acres. Each lot has a 50-foot frontage and 50-foot width. That was part of the retreat lot bylaw. And then also with this common drive, we followed the common drive bylaw also that the town was working on. We're proposing a 20-foot wide driveway to service 4 lots. The maximum slope would be in this area here, which would be 6%. That was a requirement. The total length of this kind of driveway is 758 feet. At the end of the driveway, we do a turnaround for emergency access. I do have a truck turning plan. I took the town's fire apparatus and did the truck turning simulation on that. And by doing this, you can see how we cut the development in half. So that would preserve the area. So because we're here for a variance, we have to kind of meet some criteria on that. So when you're filing for a variance, you have to kind of present hardship, and hardships can be topography, soils, irregularity of the lot. So what we came up with, because of the Muddy Brook, we have the 200-foot riverfront. So in that area, you're limited on what you can do. So by decreasing the size of the development, we can easily fit 4 houses and stay outside of the riverfront area. So we would preserve that riverfront area there. Topography, we have ledge up here, so the ledge would affect where the where the road would go, how it would be constructed. So over here, in this area here, there is no ledge that's coming out of the ground. We haven't done any soil testing through here, but this over here, you can see when you drive on the road that this is out of the ground. So ledge would affect the property. Because we did soil testing, we do know that groundwater is high. It's 30 inches. So each one of these sites would be built up. And by only doing 4, they easily fit on the property. 8 would be more congested. So we felt that by doing this, we would preserve, the resource area on the downhill side and minimize the impacts, minimize impervious and everything with that environmental concern at the bottom of the page. Also, we have the gas line that runs through there, runs through the property, so that kind of limits us going that way. So that, I mean, those are the main, hardships that I had come up with was topography, environmental concerns, groundwater, and ledge. Those are the 4.
Just see another plan real quick, because we've got the package, right?
It's not in the.
So this is the preliminary plan. You should have a copy of this. I thought
I don't have it here.
But you can see the cul-de-sac basically in the same location. And then, all these lots do meet the requirements. They meet the frontage, they meet the area. And with this portion here, we had to extend the lots further down. In this version here, these lots stop here, and the back is 10.3 acres that will remain undisturbed. It would be part, it's still part of the project, but it's going to remain undisturbed, and it will preserve, the riverfront. Even on the opposite side of Muddy Brook, there is land there that it does continue on, and that would be preserved. Backside.
Is that let back, that's parcel 35, right?
Yeah, 35 goes all the way back up the hill.
Yeah, and there's no access to that.
Right. The only access would be, I think, maybe over near the cemetery. It may come that way off of there.
So there is a Ape Street or a town way that's goes behind Bonnie's Barn that abuts the where Cemetery Street comes out on the Providence Road. It gets you up to that back piece of the town owns where there's a cemetery up there. A small cemetery it's up there. I think.
But that whole area would be able to be preserved.
Does that get like a conservation restriction or anything like that, or?
We haven't talked about that, but,
Wonder, like,
It's not part of the purchase, it would still remain owned by the cable then.
It's probably still subject to a tax lien, 61A agricultural, so there's some protections there.
Was, this parcel, this piece, is that under 61A?
Yeah, if this piece was, and it's been
removed.
that line is in the middle of the wetland there, or something, or?
what, this one?
I'm looking at the locust map, the whole thing.
So I would say, see,
Oh,
this lot right here is the cemetery. I would say
It's like
it goes right about there.
Yeah.
So you have that whole tail that would be preserved, and it's 10.3 acres. And
Earlier you said that the other plan, each of the lots was conforming,
correct.
and so, how would they be conforming these ones?
This is the preliminary subdivision.
So this wouldn't be considered a subdivision?
No,
These
no.
four lots of common.
With the common drive, so the town wouldn't be responsible of maintaining the driveway, the 4 homeowners would maintain that.
How many feet of road is that?
This is 860.
Okay.
So I was able to shrink the roadway.
Just, sorry, I mean, it's 860, how wide is it?
It's 26 feet wide. The driveway is 20. And like I said, I do have a truck turning plan for the fire truck. I did do that. So you can see the fire truck comes in, comes down, turns in, and then we did a hammerhead at the end. So you can pull up all the way here and then back up and then leave. So this section here is 81 feet, this section here is 70 feet. And that all would be within an easement that the four homeowners would maintain that, homeowners association.
Is it actual HOA or a?
I would think that they would have to come up with an HOA for the four.
Okay.
Some kind of
agreement
Yeah,
or something.
homeowners association agreement.
That's always fun.
The little circles in the top, that's the ledge, correct? Little circles on the
No,
top,
that's a stone wall.
that's a stone,
Yep.
a stone wall.
Yep.
So where is the ledge again?
See right here, you can see the topography right in this section here?
No, yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's what I mean, the little oval circle things at the top, so that's.
Yeah, but
That's a stone wall,
that's a stone wall.
right here, Tom, where the lines are close together.
So the ledge, you can see the topography, see the dotted lines, see how it's very steep right here, that's a ledge,
Okay,
a ledge face there.
Yeah.
But this dark,
That's the currently the stone.
That's the stone.
Okay.
Okay.
Right in here where it
Printed one, very just electronic equipment.
Now, in lot 5. Now these.
Lot 5 is existing and that would remain as part of the Cahill's thing.
Okay, so that's
That's where the barn is, the current
okay,
Cahill's.
so they're not, that's not part of this.
Essentially, it's down back.
Yes,
See, in the field.
taking it out of there.
So this is a 4-lot variance, that's what it is. It's only
Correct.
include the 50
In
lot,
each of the lots that have maximum frontage.
50. And 50 feet of.
50 with it.
And basically that was taken through the draft of the retreat lot bylaw. That's how we came up with the design.
Up to questions? Anybody from the audience have questions about this proposal?
Yeah, I can.
State your name and address if you want to come up, you're welcome to.
Jeff Mead, 3 Bellingham Street. So each lot has 50 feet of frontage. To what, not to Hartford Ave?
Yes. So they have 50 feet of frontage here, 50 feet, 50 feet, 50 feet, and then they have the driveway would be within an easement over the frontage.
Because what I got in the mail, I thought it was just 50 feet of frontage all being split. And then it says something about 125 feet is what you need for width, and you were only getting 50.
For each one.
Where is,
50 feet would be the width, yeah. So 50 feet is your frontage from that line to that line is 50 feet, that line is 50. And then you come back the required setback and it's 50. But at the house locations,
what is the house location?
no, the house locations, there's 200 feet. Each lot has 200 feet at the house. So all you're gonna see is a 20-foot driveway come down here. And then this is all gonna be down in the field. And then because we're only doing 4, we're able to stay outside of the riverfront area.
I thought that the house was gonna be 50 feet apart.
No.
There we go.
No.
All right.
So
I have another question, for the Prince, 3 volumes.
Yeah, if you could just, let's just keep addressing the board and.
Okay, so what about the traffic? That is a very dangerous coming out Bellingham onto Harvard Ave with 8 more potential 8 cars.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
8
yeah.
family teenagers.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks ago, our carrier had a truck coming out Bellingham Street. So just the increased traffic with such a narrow driveway with that many cars coming out the driveway.
But we'll have to make sure that we meet the site distance for.
Yeah, that, some of the concerns with regard to traffic and site distance would fall under.
Under the
building department
DPW.
or
You gotta go to the planning board when
planning board. Other questions?
Yeah, David Stewart, 6 Cemetery Street, I'd like to come up. Just look at a couple of things. Well, the first question is, saying the K Hills will remain owning this parcel. What's to say in the future, because you're giving up an 8-lot subdivision that appears, it meets all the requirements, I'm not sure it does. That at some point, somebody couldn't go back and ask for 4 more.
How did they do that?
How would we do that?
How they do that?
Well, you have this land here, they sell the land to whoever.
Yeah, but
It's just the front,
this is the only lot, this rectangle is the only thing that's left. These 4 lots will be in separate ownership. You don't have enough area for 4 more lots.
Okay, so the next question is, why are we even, you have a developable piece of land that has frontage on a main road, why are we giving variances for parcels that could be developed?
Well, we haven't given variance yet, and.
But if he goes for the 8-lot, he wouldn't need a variance because they'd all conform.
Yeah, so
I
the,
don't know.
It has to be happy.
If you put a road in, you'd have your frontage.
if you want
Yeah,
to flip the,
approval.
want to flip the plan again, back to the proposed.
They wouldn't be here because you'd do it.
Pre-approval, or it's approved.
No, it's officially approved.
Officially approved.
Yes, we were there in October. Each lot has the required 200 feet,
subdivision.
and it also has the required area over 60,000 square feet. So,
This was
as
approved.
you can see, 127, 99, 83, 67. You know what I mean?
Preliminary.
The other thing is based, what I read as far as the hardship is based on geology more or less. We're saying that there's ledge, there's difficulty putting in foundations, there's high groundwater.
Sure.
So, soil conditions, that's what the statute calls for.
I developed Cemetery Street, I put Swandale Drive. I got plans in my hand to show what all the soil conditions are. And I live at 6 Cemetery Street, I own 6-1B Swandale and 1-A Cemetery Street. So my backyard is less than 120 yards to this septic system.
Yeah.
So I have data that shows that groundwater from the top of the hill down is anywhere from 217 inches to 72 inches. And it's all sandy gravel, there's no problem putting in foundation.
I did soil testing there, and it was witnessed by the Board of Health, and we came up with 30 inches, 24 inches in the field. And if you go over to Bellingham Street, I did that soil testing, and groundwater was roughly 30 inches, and you can see how those houses look. They're sticking out of the ground.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why they have walkouts in the back, because we had to
So
try
the
to.
soil changes that much in 120 yards?
Yes, it
I don't
does.
believe it.
Well, the Board of Health was there to witness it.
So why are we giving variances for geology? That's my point. Typically, there's some type of other hardship.
Well, we have environmental hardships, we have the riverfront.
And you're having less houses.
Right.
You're having less houses. You have 4 less houses too.
Yeah,
My
so-
clients are willing to cut back
And that will be it. So nobody's gonna develop the rest of this. You can guarantee me that.
Look back over.
Because I have a problem with the 4 lot. Like,
Just look back over. Up here on this lot, this has got frontage on Harvard Ave. This piece here, you might see a house we put there.
guarantee it.
Why you can't browse it?
No, it's only 100,000 square feet. You need 60,000 square feet.
I'm sorry.
This is.
100,000 square feet. Okay,
Right, and 60,000 square feet is a buildable lot.
right.
That's all that is there, so you can't get.
So you're saying you got 100,000 square feet?
Yeah.
You can't put two houses.
You don't need one
Wanna
level.
go for duplex or something? Because we're doing that now as well.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it's out of the purview of the permit and request, it's not
Right,
the
so
property, so it's not relevant. I don't know what the future owner would do with that property, it's not.
It just seems like we have zoning laws and they get put under the desk.
Well, in fairness, they have an approved, I didn't even realize it approved subdivision plan for.
Was it preliminary?
Yeah,
Approved
but-
preliminary. All we have to do is submit the definitive, but.
And it meets all requirements.
Correct.
So that's a question. Should there been a notice sent to me because I'm in butter for that meeting?
Not preliminary doesn't require a notification, but this is when they submit the.
When we submit the definitive,
Then it will be-
get notified, as well as when we submit the notice of intent. Because then we'll have to design a detention pond, we would have to do work within the front area, so then that would trigger a notice of
You know,
intent.
the other thing, like I said, I didn't care so much about 4 lots going in. If that's what you're doing, I don't have a problem with that. But as far as some of your lingo, the other side of the brook and stuff, you'll never access that. That wetlands is, forget it.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying, it's gonna be,
But it makes it sound like it's, it's a potential more developable piece of land.
I don't think anybody said that. I think you said it completely opposite of what you said. I think you said exactly what you said, that nothing's gonna happen there. When we originally, a little bit of history on this, if I
Yeah, go ahead.
that we originally looked at the whole piece and we looked at what would it be to put a bridge and cross over Muddy Brook. It was very invasive on the environment to try to do that. To get another lot or two on the other side, we looked in from the other side, down again Cemetery Street, which is impossible. You to pave, even if you were to get it into a road and pave it all the way in, it's way too much. So again, then we looked at the 8 lot subdivision piece and it was, again, looking very difficult. This was just way less. You're still getting a little bit of, it's better than neighbors.
Well, when I come back to do this, you'll approve it. Same thing.
Good point.
That's all I got to say.
The other question, go ahead.
Hi, Doug Masters, London Drive. Couple questions. 26.9 acres is on the front of the creek.
no, it's the entire piece.
Okay, so, but did you say that behind the creek is not part of the property sale?
So I'm saying, at this proposed line, right here, it's 10.3 acres. That is gonna stay Cahill property.
Okay, so it is getting cut in half.
Correct.
It's not exactly, but,
Yeah, we're cutting this off and we're cutting that out.
okay. And you guys looked at the paper street and you're not gonna pursue that? Okay,
No, if anything, the piece that's on the other side, that abuts Swandale.
Yep.
At this point, if everything was to be approved and this was to go ahead, it would only be really worth anything to the town, right? But again, maybe there is a cemetery up there on that piece now, maybe you could expand the cemetery in there, but it would be more.
right, yeah, I just want to make sure we're not setting a precedent that you're gonna do the same thing back there in 3 years.
No, you can't get back there.
Okay, so then the only other question I have, which these two mentioned, is that's a really tough spot on the road. And so right now, for example, the light at the top of the cemetery is only on about 2 days a week if you drive by it every day for some reason. And when it is on, it's very dimly lit. And so I think that's why cemeteries are one way, is trying to pull out of there is treacherous, right? So I guess my only comment would be if this is gonna go through, it would be nice to get another, well, to fix that light at cemetery, but also to have some kind of lighting there as well, because if you drive in both directions, it's on a corner and people, I think the speed limit's 30, 35, but people are going through there doing 50 all the time.
Right.
And I drive that multiple times a day, so that would be, my only concern is just that to her point, traffic there and getting in and out safely, particularly when it's dark.
If I, David Tenio, if we go with that, I mean, I feel that would be something we could work into it.
Okay.
I mean, I would like to see a light there, so I mean, where that driveway access is gonna come out. I know that's a bad section right there, but actually you have pretty good sight distance to the left and to the right. Because of, you can actually see that turn.
It is a little straighter there.
Yeah, it's better than being down on by Bellingham Street, I think it's a lot worse.
But if you remember when cemetery was two-way,
Right.
trying to pull out of there, you're taking your life in your hands, and, you know, a couple times the bridge is closed and cops sending that, it's like.
The planning board will look at this and the planning board will decide what needs to be done to address those types of concerns. That's not really part of this application.
Yep.
But they'll have to go through site plan review.
Okay.
So the planning board may say, hey, put a light up there. They may say whatever.
I'm not opposed to that, I think that would be an absolute safety concerns, I don't blame it.
Yep, and then the only other question is, with the hammerhead, has the chief already seen that, or is that just?
But I use their truck.
Yeah.
But I would think that planning board would make us go talk to the chief too.
Okay, thanks.
Just continue, but is there a possibility, so I'm at 3 Bellingham, right at the stop sign, it's a speedway, to have a flashing red or even a flashing yellow coming down the hill, because it's treacherous. And they don't,
Bellingham Street?
What no way it is, so that,
no, but just coming down, like you said, coming down that hill, you know,
Oh, yeah.
it goes 30.
oh,
No, I've been there 11
If
years.
they don't have the ability to just put up lights, it would have to be something.
I think you have to go through the highway.
if I had to top of the pole, if that was something we could help out in that area, I would, as long as we can make it work, wouldn't be opposed to that.
They just can't put up.
Yeah,
They just don't- they
Should
do
put a
not-
box there every
They
day, right?
do not, they can come in my driveway, they do not slow down.
That's a tough area, I do agree.
One other question, the Cahill's still on the front piece where the greenhouse was, so that's gonna sit there like it is for now.
Any more questions?
One more follow-up. So this is the plan that we're supposedly going with now.
Yes.
Not-
It was always this plan, I don't know what. It was always 4 lots with reduced frontage and reduced width.
Wait, that's about it. The A lot thing. Well,
Oh, no, I thought you were asking, this is the plan, right? This is what,
Right, we're not going,
we're not going,
there's
this
no
is.
chance of the 8 lots getting thrown.
If we
If the speakers variance, this is what
We would rather.
we would rather
do
do.
it tonight.
I would rather see it that way myself. Like I said, my biggest concern was I thought it was gonna be a 50-foot driveway that everyone shared, not that everyone has 50 feet to the road.
This is the most impactful way to develop that parcel.
I'd rather have one driveway than 4 separate driveways going out.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was gonna be, everyone was gonna share like an 8-foot driveway on a 50-foot piece.
No, that wouldn't work. But
Yeah, this fixes that property like that. It's not like doing it different, that you can't add more houses. It's somewhere around 800 or 900 feet of road that the town does not have to accept and maintain. A lot less impervious impact to the property, so it's lower impact development.
Mary what is the footage on that strip coming in to be those 4 lots again?
50.
Is 50 feet wide?
you mean the street?
The
The road?
driveway?
Yes.
The driveway's 20 feet wide.
That's a wide drive.
But you have 200 feet on.
Yeah, so these 4 lots have 200 feet of frontage, and we're only using that. We decided that because, you know, this is ledge all over here, so we picked this location because of site distance and construction. It would do the least amount of impact by putting it there, and you get the best site distance from it. So out of that 200 feet, we're only putting a driveway 20 feet, that's it. You have another question?
Hi, Cheryl Patrol, 5 Chief Report. I'm curious, are there other variances that have been given for driveways with 4 separate
Yes,
homes.
So, yeah.
And where are they? Do you know off the top of your head?
one,
One,
she lives on one, not that.
60 North Ave, where my brother and I live, and my mother.
So there are four, okay, so this would be the second.
And there's someone in Millville Road, there's a couple.
Black, I think there's one at Blackstone as well.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Not that, Blackstone.
There was one, there was also another one in North Ave. Just recently.
One, up,
And that Adrian, is it Adrian Blackstone?
80th and Blackstone, but in Millville, it's Mike Salvatore's.
Fun.
Mike Salvatore's.
Oh, my Salvador's piece, correct, oh, correct. We went down, so if you.
It's almost a Southwest.
Side, where they have the big gates and yeah, that's another one, yeah.
There's 4 houses back there?
And I don't know that they're constructed, but it was approved for.
There's gonna be 5, I think there's 2 of them.
Yeah, there's quite a
That was
few.
approved years ago.
That was years ago, yes, that was a long time ago.
But again.
They're all approved, you can do it whenever.
I want to confirm that the alternative to this is an approved eight lots subdivision. Correct. For initial approval.
And, you know, it's worth noting that in this town, it's unique that there are a lot of very large parcels with short, small frontage. It's somewhat unique to this town and a few others around, and other towns have a zoning bylaw which allows this type of operation by right.
Why?
We were proposing that as the amendment to the bylaw.
So in the zoning bylaw review committee, that's actually, they pushed that one back. There's actually some adjustment we need, and I think that, not that it's part of this, but that the reason it didn't get brought to town meeting yet was I think there should be some consolidation into the retreat and common.
Yeah.
And there was a few other things in there that were pretty
But that's gonna,
rigid. and
that's gonna get-
contradictory, so that's what.
that's gonna get brought up again, I think, anyways.
Yeah, probably at the end.
In the words of our late Bill Ambrose, he's
Yeah.
really a big proponent of low impact development. And this honors that. It's 30, almost 30 acres, right? 30 acres of
Yeah,
land,
26 and change.
26 acres of land.
You have 4 houses on 26.
And 4 houses.
Well,
So
16 really, right?
even 16, right? Like 4 houses on 16 acres. That could be developed for 8 houses. And if someone wanted to do, an affordable housing piece, that it could be 12 houses, right? It could get much more impactful to town and maybe there's a traffic issue, that would generate a bigger traffic issue. So I mean, it's kind of a best of both worlds for the property and
You didn't need a relief from the wetlands bylaw or from conservation commission.
No,
Not for this.
no.
Far enough away.
And if we do fall within the riverfront, then we would have to file this for a notice of it.
there's
But I'm not planning on doing
for the 200 foot or 200 foot.
it. 200 foot.
1 foot,
Yes. Yeah, because it's a perennial stream.
way outside.
Okay. That's a big buffer zone for.
It would be 8 lots that are actually in it on 1 or 2 would at least.
But you're no longer.
No, not with.
So the buffer zone is 200 feet from the creek?
From the mean height annual of Muddy Brook.
Yeah.
And then it also does have a 100-foot buffer, but that falls within the 200-foot, so the 200-foot is kind of the jurisdiction.
So wetlands buffer zone for the bordering vegetated wetlands, and then it's a 200-foot buffer zone because it's a actual river, not a stream. Right? Yeah, pretty substantial.
Ready for a motion?
Any other discussion from the?
I can make a motion to approve Hill property at 35 Hartford Avenue, 4 lots with each lot having 50-foot frontage on Hartford Avenue.
Can we, you read your guidance, see if we can do something about the, like some kind of letters, like, we add that, like, note that in the motion.
Add to what?
We note that in the motion that.
For lighting at the top.
Oh, I didn't know it. Yeah, with
Mutually agreeable.
We're mutually agreeable to have a light or, can't have a light, but a light or pole or some kind of warning light or something, whatever they come up with.
Usually agreed that
Yeah, true.
you're exploring, traffic mitigation.
Yeah, so kind of.
Some kind of light or something. I know we can't put
Probably
traffic.
a safety, probably more of a safety concern of a street light.
Street light, street light, yeah, something.
Yeah, we are, it's definitely, yeah,
You'd have to do that at the planning board anyways.
But
We'll put it in the thing,
there's a lot
I have a decision. You have to do that.
And sorry to keep adding on, and can you note the hardship if you're
We already got that, yeah. It's in the paper, yeah, it's
just in
in the application.
You want to read that over, make it clean?
yes.
I found every bit.
Tom's got it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, all right, so I will, yes, I will make a motion, to grant a variance request on, 35 Hartford Ave East, for the purposes of, unique soil, ground, water, ledge, topography, and riverfront conditions. Pending, mutually agreeable exploration of traffic mitigation on the end of the property.
Second,
Roll call vote, all in favor?
Raleigh, aye.
John, I,
Matt Clark, aye. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No other business?
no, I take it, 10 minutes. Oh, good, sorry.
I'm making a motion to adjourn.
Second.
In favor? Clark, aye.